Tie and dye in the Gambia is a cherished art form embodying cultural identity and tradition, especially among women who have preserved this craft for generations. In towns like Dippa, also known as Tube Town, tie and dye fabrics are integral to ceremonies and everyday life. The process involves folding, twisting, and bending cloth before applying vibrant dyes, creating unique patterns that reflect social status, personal stories, and cultural motifs. For over 40 years, Aissatou Dramé and her family have been producing tie and dye fabrics along the Dippa stream, which connects to the larger Kotu stream. Aissatou recalls learning the craft from her mother at a young age.
I have been involved in tie and dye for over 40 years, starting from a young age with the support of my mom, who is now retired. Now, I collaborate with my children and in-laws. This tradition is not only a part of our culture, but also our main source of income. It helps us feed our families, fund our children's schooling, and cover our daily expenses.
Traditionally, artisans used natural dyes from plants, roots, and minerals, which were environmentally safe. However, the shift to synthetic chemical dyes, priced for their bright colors and affordability, has introduced serious environmental and health risks. The Kunda-Kotu stream, once filled with aquatic life and a vital resource for fishing, now suffers pollution from dying water waste discharged directly into it. Aissatou family and others produce dozens of fabrics daily, rinsing them in the stream and releasing chemical residues without fully understanding the environmental damage. She explains the reason behind their shift from traditional methods.
Our parents used to use kola nuts and other traditional herbs, but those leaves are now scarce. We use chemical dyes instead because they are more affordable and easier to handle. Kola nuts are very expensive and we simply cannot afford them. So far, we have not observed any environmental damage caused by our work.
Lamin Joyte, Registrar of Pesticides and Hazardous Chemicals at the National Environment Agency, highlights the types of chemicals used and their environmental impact on the Dippa area.
The colors in most cases are usually azo dyes. Azo dyes are families of chemicals, organic compounds that has a huge amount of colors, and some of them they could be even indigo, which is also a common source of coloration that the textile industry uses. They use fixers as well, or mordant. These are chemicals that usually helps to bind the colors, to the fabrics. They use also a lot of surfactants. Sometimes also they use soda ash, sometimes potassium carbonate, or sodium carbonate. These are chemicals that are also used in the tie and dye industry. But the main chemical compositions are usually the azo dyes, that they have a high tendency to stay inside the environment for so long without degrading. And when chemicals don't degrade, that means that their impact can still be felt in the environment.
Local residents and environmental experts warn that the pollution cannot be ignored. Synthetic dyes contaminate water sources, harming aquatic ecosystems and posing health risks to communities relying on the stream for drinking, bathing, and irrigation.
Sometimes when you look at the water along the Kotu streams, they have different characteristics, colors. This is as a result of the dyes not being degraded. And what dyes do, when you pour them into the water, they serve as barrier between the sunlight and then also the water. So when that happens, it prevents sunlight to get into the water, being absorbed into the water. And there are aquatic plants. When they call aquatic plants, these are plants that are usually found inside the water. And then plants require sunlight for photosynthesis. Without the sunlight, there cannot be photosynthesis. So what happens is that these colors, they block the absorption of sunlight. So when they block the absorption of sunlight, you're depriving the aquatic plants. And once you are depriving the aquatic plants from the sunlight that they need, you are disrupting an entire, food chain, because there are also aquatic invertebrates and vertebrates that feed on aquatic plants. These azodyes or colors are inside the water. They are also reactive to oxygen. So when they are reactive to oxygen, that means that you have a limited oxygen for a huge amount of ecosystem. So when that happens, you're completely killing the aquatic animals and species that are inside the water. Another problem is that some of them, because they have a high, low biodegradability, they can also seep or leach into groundwater. And then that is why when they leach into the groundwater, that means that they will be readily available as drinking water for people. Because a lot of people in the Gambia here, they rely on boreholes or even wells for their drinking water. And if you look at our boreholes, we do not have a complete or an effective, treatment systems. From the borehole, most of the homes don't even have a filtration system. They don't have any disinfection systems. So these azodyes or colors or chemicals that are found inside these fabrics, the textile industry, goes into the groundwater, and then we dig our well. This is our source of our drinking water. That means that you're not only exposing the aquatic ecosystem, you're also indirectly or directly also drinking from the water that is already contaminated with most of these chemicals. And as I told you, these chemicals can also be carcinogenic, meaning that they can cause cancers, and they're very, very, very toxic.
Soil contamination from these chemicals threatens agriculture and biodiversity. Efforts to address these challenges are underway. The West Africa Coastal Areas Worker Project includes interventions targeting tie and dye pollution along the Kotu stream. These involve promoting eco-friendly dyeing techniques, safer synthetic alternatives, and proper wastewater treatment.
Then, we want to ensure that we see a stream flowing, an urban stream. So that is the physical part. Then we have the social part. We launched a market assessment which was validated, and this market assessment is looking at livelihood options, where we can support communities, in improving their economic situation, especially the youth and the women. So they came up with series of options, and right now we developed a livelihood manual. This year we will roll out that livelihood options. One of it is Dippa, Kunda, the Tube Town, trying to see how to encourage those women get back to their business in a proper manner, that they don't compromise the health of the stream also.
Artisans in Kunda welcome the worker project's proposed initiatives, but expressed doubt based on past unfulfilled promises. They also worry that environmental regulations could threaten their livelihoods.
We appreciate the worker project's plan, but we are cautious because we have encountered similar promises from people claiming to work for the government in the past that were not kept. We also worried that new environmental rules might put our job at risk. We hope they will not fail us.
The Kotu stream spans 2,476 hectares and flows through 11 communities and 9 wards in the Kanifing municipality and West Coast region. It faces multiple threats, including flooding exacerbated by human activity, pollution from sewage and oil spills, and inadequate infrastructure. The Worker project aims to enhance flood resilience, improve recreational and tourism potential, promote socio-economic development, and improve urban livability and environmental health. It also seeks to reduce pollution from stormwater runoff and improve connectivity. Maria Madem, reporting for StatV News.